Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another new project. So today's project's a little bit simpler than the last few, and all we're basically doing is going to be installing a water pressure boosting pump back at the house that's going to help push the water and increase the pressure to the water that comes out here to the barn. So today's goal is going to be get this installed downstairs. It's actually a very simple installation. I'll get to that in a minute. And before we do that, we're going to do a few baseline tests where we test some pressure, we'll test some flow, we'll do some volume testing, and we'll do a few different variations of that and get kind of a baseline where we're at. And then we'll get the pump installed, and then we'll do the same tests again and see how much it helps there. So stick around and let's get it installed. Okay, so before we start the test, let me just give you a little rundown on what we're actually using here. So the folks over at AQUASTRONG, they happened to see one of my videos where I did mention about, I was actually looking to do this, and that was one of my projects coming up, was getting a pump and increasing the pressure out to the barn here. So they reached out to me and they asked if I wanted to try it out, and I told them I would be glad to try it and I was going to give them an honest review. This is not, I'm not paid to say one thing one way or the other, but they were nice enough to supply me with the pump. And I'll give you guys all the details on it, but it's the AQUASMART45. It's a 3/4 horse variable speed pump, and it's got programmable pressure settings you can put it at, so you can have it set anywhere from, I believe it's 45 PSI all the way up to 80 PSI. It's pretty simple on how it works. Basically, the incoming water comes in the lower port, it gets pressurized with the variable speed pump based on the demand. If it senses a pressure drop, the pump kicks on and helps push the water out. So if you got 50 PSI coming in and it's set at 60, anytime it senses less than 60 PSI at this end of the pipe, it'll kick the pump on and will help increase the pressure from this port to this port out to the fixtures. It can actually be used in a few different applications. This can be used as a standalone pump. So if you have a shallow well or a storage tank, or if you collect rainwater and you want to water your grass or garden with it, you could literally just hook it up to here, have it draw from the tank, pressurize your water, go to your garden hose. If you have city water, your city water supply comes in, it bumps up the pressure, and it comes out. Same scenario with the well. I got my well is already pulling the water out of the ground, it's already pressurizing it. It goes into a pressure tank actually, and then after that point, I can have it go to here, increase the pressure and push it out from there. It's supposed to be pretty quiet. We'll obviously check that out. It's pretty simple install. You got a 1-inch inlet in and out on it, and you have a 110 cord to plug it in. So, I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that. And what's kind of cool, what I noticed when I opened it up, is the intake and the outlet of it has these ports where if you loosen these, you can actually, they got like a ball swivel built into them. So if you got any type of misalignment in your plumbing coming to this, you can kind of line it up how it goes. You can crank these down and it will lock it in place wherever you set it. But I just thought that was kind of a neat little feature there. And these actually do act as like a union too, so if you take these off, you can pull this out completely, and if you had to service the pump or the plumbing, you could do that as well. And it's neat that it's a variable speed motor, so if it's just a small demand for water supply, the motor doesn't have to run up full speed, so it can just adjust the motor speed where it's needed to match the pressure rating that it's set at. So overall first impression, I mean, it seems to be built well. It was packaged really good. It's got nice clear instructions in it. Like I said, it was much heavier than I anticipated, so I mean, obviously that's a pretty good sign that it's built good. So let's go ahead and get a few baseline numbers tested first, and then we'll get this pump installed. Should go in pretty quick. Then we'll come back out, test it all again, and compare them, and I'll let you guys know how. Okay, so for the first test, I got the camera set up on the gauge. We're about 59, 60 PSI out here with no water running whatsoever. That's just the pressure in the system to the hose here. What I'm gonna do is turn on a series of fixtures in the bathroom, and you guys will be able to see the gauge live as I turn them on and off, and you'll be able to see the pressure drop. So first we'll just go ahead and turn on the single cold. Turn the hot on as well. Got the shower. It's kind of in between the two, so it's hot and cold coming. Get the shower on, hot and cold on. Go ahead and flush the toilet. And surprisingly, it's still fairly good flow, even though the pressure is low. All right, so you guys can see the pressure drop as I turned more fixtures on. Obviously the pressure kept getting lower and lower. That's a great example of if you're using a high volume fixture or a hose, which is, you know, it could flow as much as full capacity if there's nothing on the end of it, your pressure drops pretty quick. So we'll see. I'm curious to see how much it'll help with maintaining that pressure as we turn more and more fixtures on. So even though everything got turned back off, nothing's flowing, you probably noticed the pressure is now at 50 PSI instead of 60 like it was when we started. And the reason for that is, like I said, since I'm on a well, there's a pressure switch and it's got a range just like an air compressor. So when it gets below a certain PSI, it kicks on. It gets to a certain PSI, it kicks off. And I believe mine's like 55 to 70, I'm pretty sure is what I have it set at. I'll have to maybe check that. But so even if it's in the house right now, it might be 55 PSI. We're only getting 50 out here. So there's even a little bit of a pressure drop just between the two, just over the course of the distance there, which kind of surprises me. I thought if nothing was moving or flowing, I always figured the pressures would be equalized or the same. What we're gonna do now is I'm gonna pull the pressure gauge off and we're gonna just set up a timer and we're gonna fill the 5-gallon bucket and see how long it takes to fill it. We'll probably do it, I think 2 times, and then I'll just take the average of the 2 times of them. And then we'll obviously do the same thing after the fact. All right, so we got our gauge off, our bucket's completely empty, and when it gets to the top, I'm gonna stop the stopwatch. So I'll go ahead and turn it on and hit start. Minute and 21 seconds. Okay, you got the bucket empty again. We're gonna do it again and ready, go. All right, minute 14. A little bit of a difference between those two. I'm just gonna do it a 3rd time just to get a more accurate number. Bucket's empty, ready, go. About a minute 15. So that's pretty good. So I'll average them out and put them on the screen. I think it was a minute 21, minute 14, and minute 15. I'd say those are all pretty close to each other. So I know I'm gonna be connecting these to PEX. I got 1-inch PEX downstairs, so I'm gonna put these 1-inch PEX adapters on here ahead of time before I even go in the basement. We're just gonna use some Blue Monster, seal up the threads. All right, let's go take it downstairs. We're down in my basement in the storage room here, mechanical room. And you guys can see I got pressure tank for my well. And it's reading 54 PSI or so right now. Pressure switch. My well comes in over at that end, goes into the tank, out of the tank to a sediment filter. Then it goes through my water softener. Then it goes through a carbon filter up here. And then it goes to the rest of the house after that. And then back in this corner is This is the pipe that goes out through the wall and goes underground all the way out to the barn. And all these valves here is kind of another afterthought. Was I wish I would have ran 2 lines out there, because I do have softened water, and for like a hose and water in the grass and stuff, it is nice to just use the water straight from the well and not have to go through the filters or anything like that. So what I can do if I want, I don't do it very often, but if I know I'm going to be watering the grass or something out there, I can come down here and I can close this valve, because that's the softened water coming down, the filtered water coming down and going to the barn. So I can close that one, and if I have this one open, this comes directly from my well. It doesn't go through the filters at all. And I can have this one open, and this goes all to my other hose bibs around the house. So usually this is open. I haven't opened it yet this year. It's just now spring, but usually this is open, and then all I would do is open this valve up, and now the hard water, unfiltered water, would go in, over, and out to the barn that way. So it kind of gives me the flexibility with only the one pipe running out there. I have the flexibility to run soft water or hard water. If I know I'm going to be using a lot of water on the grass, I'll come switch it, but 99% of the time it's just the softened filtered water going out there. So since there's not a ton of room in here, I'll just set up the camera, but I'll give you a quick explanation. We're basically just going to set the pump on the floor. I do have it on a 2-inch paver block just to get up off the floor. If everything goes really well and it works great, I might do like a wall mount or something for it, some brackets. But for right now, I'm just going to put it there. It's going to get plugged into the outlet here. And all I'm going to do is, since this is the pipe that goes out to the barn, and this one's after either the hard water or the soft water, we're going to cut this pipe here. It's going to go down into the inlet, and that's going to come back out and go out the outlet. So the only water in the house that's affected by this pump is the water from this point to the barn, and nothing in the house itself. The house has good pressure. I don't want to have to bump the entire house up just to get more pressure out there. I want to be able to just bump up the pressure from this point on. So I'll set you guys up, get this cut. I already turned the water off at the barn, so there shouldn't be too much water draining back, but I'm sure there's going to be some. And then we'll connect everything, and we'll go from there. And since I already do have valves prior to and basically after, I'm not going to put any other shutoffs in between this, because I can pretty much shut everything down from here, and I would be able to disconnect this if I wanted to without having to turn off the rest of the house. So let's get it in. So right away I just decided to go with the shelf. I had a few of these like 6-inch angle brackets and a chunk of pressure treated 2x8. So I just drilled some 1/4-inch holes in the wall, used these lead style wedge anchors, tapped them in there. They seem to work a whole lot better than the like plastic mollies when going into cinder block like that. So I just screwed the pump down to that and began plumbing it in from there. This is really the best part about PEX, is at any time you need to bonify it or cut into it, you're not worrying about trying to dry out copper and soldering wet pipes together. You can pull it apart, reuse fittings, especially with these pinch style crimps, where you can just take a pair of side cutters, cut the end of the crimp off, peel it off, and you can actually get the pipe back off of the fittings, which is nice. Just went ahead and tied it all together. I did run short one elbow, and it kind of bummed me out, but I was not going to go to the store again today to go get one, so I just had to kind of push that over and get it in place. Alright guys, so we got it all plumbed in. I made a little shelf bracket for it, a piece of pressure treated wood and a couple L brackets, and anchored it into the block. Got everything connected. I was short one elbow. I would have liked to have brought this back to the wall and then up, kind of like how I did here. It's fine for now. If I ever want to fix any of this up, I'll just cut it, throw an elbow in. It's no big deal. So before I fire it up or plug it in, we're going to open the water to it and make sure that nothing's leaking. It looks like got a little leak at the threads here, so let me try snugging this up. See if we can snug this up a little bit. Get up. Nope. The heck? Try some Teflon tape. Anytime you use sealant tape like this, you want to go in the same direction as you're fitting as you're tightening it, so that way it doesn't peel the tape off as you tighten the fitting up. So you want to go clockwise with it and get all the way to the first thread and work your way in. Yep, we're good now. No leaks, no leaks. Everything looks good. So before I plug it in, just ensure there's no air pockets in here. I'm gonna go out to the barn, turn on a faucet, let the water just run through it, and then I'll shut it down out there, come back in here, and then we'll fire it up. There is a way, like if you're using this as a shallow well pump, you can take this cap off here and pre-fill the unit by pouring water into it, so it's not running dry, and then once it primes itself, then you're good. The way we got it, with it being pressurized, that really won't work for us. So like I said, the main thing is just opening up a faucet, let it push all the air out, then we'll plug it in, set the pressure, and then we'll go test it. I purged everything, let the water run in the barn for about 5-10 minutes till a bunch of air came out, then it cleared up. So this thing should be completely full of water with no air pockets anywhere. So we're gonna get it plugged in. Okay, so these numbers here are, it's not PSI, it's the bar setting. So right now, it's set at 3.0 bar, which means it's about 44 PSI. And when we're using it in a positive pressure application where there's positive pressure going into it, we can go up to 4.5, 5.0, or 5.5 bar, which is 65 PSI, 73 PSI, or 80 PSI. If it's being used as like a shallow well pump, you can only go between 3 and 4 bar at that point. But since we have positive pressure, I'm gonna turn it up. I think I'm just gonna turn it all the way up. 5.5, so 80 PSI. So let's go out to the barn, and right now it's saying it's 5.6 bar of output pressure, which is about 81 PSI. And we'll see how much we got at the barn over there. So I just opened up the water supply to the hose, and we're actually a little over 80 PSI. We're probably closer to 85 PSI right now at the hose. So let's go do the same test where we turn on the faucet, the shower, flush the toilet, and let's see how much it drops. Remember before, it was almost like 20 PSI when all three things were running. So we'll do one at a time. I'll have the pressure up on the screen for you. You guys will be able to see the pressure drop. So that's with just the cold on. Definitely feels like a lot more water is coming out of here. It's a good sign. That's hot and cold. Oh yeah, that thing's got some pressure now. Let's go ahead and turn the shower on. Wow, that's a huge improvement. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but that's flowing really good. And the faucet didn't seem to slow down at all. Let's flush the toilet. So the toilet's filling, hot and cold, and the shower. And just by feeling it, I would say there's more pressure to the shower and faucet right now with all three on than it was with just one of them on. Like the shower by itself, I don't even think flowed that good prior. So I'd say that's a huge improvement. Let me flush it one more time. So far so good. I feel like that's pretty good. I don't know what the pressure is. You guys know because you've been watching it. But yeah, oh man. So we're still over 50 PSI with all three fixtures running at full blast. We were at 50 PSI with nothing running before, and every time we turned something on, it would drop 10, 15 PSI, if not more. So I think before we were almost down to like 20 PSI with all three of them running, the toilet, the sink, and the shower on full blast. So I'd call that a win for sure. That's awesome. I mean, that's really impressive. And that, even with the shower on full blast still, I mean, that thing has way more pressure than it ever did prior. So that's awesome. So I call that a win. I mean, that is really flowing good. All right, so far so good. I'm impressed. So I'll go ahead and pull this gauge off and we'll do the bucket fill test and see how that pans out. Bucket is empty, water's off. We're gonna start in 3, 2, 1. And 53 seconds. I'd say that's a win too. I think our slowest time last time was 1:21 and our fastest was 1:14. Let me dump this one out. Bucket's empty. Reset the clock. 3, 2, 1. And full. 53 seconds. So I think being that it's variable speed and it can maintain the exact pressure, we're gonna get the same results every time, but we're gonna do it one more time just to be sure. All right, bucket's empty. Let's do it one more time. 3, 2, 1. And full. 53 seconds. Well, guys, I'm pretty impressed. I would call that a major win both ways. For volume, was a great increase. For pressure, I mean, we had the same, if not a little more pressure as with all 3 fixtures running at full blast as we did with nothing running before, which is pretty remarkable. And then the fact that it can repeat the 5-gallon fill test within a half a second 3 times in a row is pretty awesome too. Because if you guys have wells, you know that your pressure goes up as the well fills, it clicks off, the pressure starts coming back down, clicks on. So you get this kind of roller coaster effect going on with your pressure. And with that installed, your pressure is exact all the time, which is pretty cool. So super pleased with that. I'm pretty impressed. You know, I've looked into well pumps that kind of do the same thing. They're variable rate well pumps, so you don't rely so much on the bladder tank and pressure tank to regulate your pressure. The pump can ramp up and go back down. But a pump like that is thousands and thousands of dollars. You know, it could cost you almost $5,000 by the time you get a pump put in and replace the pressure tank and all that. Whereas this is awesome. Like I said, I really didn't need it on the house. My house pressure I feel is good. But now that I have it out here, I'm almost wondering if either I get a second one or somehow plumb it into where all my exterior hose bibs on the house go through the pump as well, because it's going to be really nice to have a garden hose with that much pressure and wide open. So yeah, super pleased with that. So one more thing I want to do is I'm going to turn on the faucet out here. Maybe I'll turn the shower and the faucet on, and then we'll go back downstairs real quick and just hear the sound of it as it's actually running under full load. And you guys can hear that part, but from what I heard before, it seems pretty quiet. So I'll go ahead and turn the water on and we'll head back down there. Okay guys, I don't know if you can hear it. I mean, it's quiet. I don't know what to even really compare it to, but it's not loud at all. It sounds maybe like a small fan running, really. So it's saying I got that shower on and the faucet out there. It's set at 5.5 bar, and the output's 5.5 bar. So it's keeping up 100% with both of those fixtures running at full blast. And this is not at all annoying. It's not at all loud. I mean, you could have this in any room of your house and it would not bother you at all. Doesn't feel warm. Everything seems to be working good. I love it. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna put a link in the description where you guys can click on it and get one of these pumps for yourself if you want. Like I said, I didn't have any obligation to say one way or the other with this. I'm giving you my honest opinion, and I think the results kind of speak for themselves. This thing's pretty impressive. I wouldn't have any issue recommending this to anybody. So the link will be down below. Go ahead and click on it. I'm gonna see if I can get you guys a discount code for it. Maybe save you a few bucks. But for the most part, this thing is pretty sweet. Thing's got some good pressure. Definitely more than it ever had before, that's for sure. That is awesome. If you guys don't get yourself one of these automatic hose reels, you don't know what you're missing in life. I have about, I think I have 4 of these around my house now. I refuse to have a regular hose anymore after having one of these things. I mean, they work awesome. I can put you guys a link for one of these in there too. I bought all these myself. I've had them. This one I just put up, it's brand new, but the ones on the house I've had for 2 years now, and they've been great. They wind up every time. This is a 75 footer, 5/8 hose. It's got a nice aluminum bracket that it comes with. Comes with the hose that goes to your hose bib. And then you can just lift this up and it lifts right off of here. So like in the wintertime, I just unhook the hose, I lift them off, and I put them up in the attic, and I don't have to worry about them freezing. But they've been really good. Comes with a nice sprayer already on it, and they're really not even that expensive for what it is. By the time you buy a hose and a sprayer wand like that and something to wind it up on, it's going to cost you more than what one of them does. I call today a complete success. That worked better than I expected. The results speak for themselves. The volume was a big shocker to me. You know, I figured the pressure would be a little bit better, but the speed in which it filled that bucket up and the consistency of it was awesome. That's really cool. So appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Like I said, I'll have the links down below for the unit. I would recommend this to you guys. Like I said, I wasn't steered one way or the other to say anything particular about this. This is my honest review. Like I said, the results kind of speak for themselves. I think this is a great option. If you guys got any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'll be sure to read them and answer them. If I did something wrong or right, let me know about it. But appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.